students can tell you Chinese grammatically is the easiest language. We don't do any conjugation, we don't change the tense, we don't have nothing. We don't have gender differences, we don't have subjective, objective difference. So all we have is the characters. But every character has a fun story behind it. So all my students, they really enjoy writing characters because each character is a story and it's fun to know all the stories. Or as for speaking itself, well, we have monosyllabic language, so every word is one syllable, so it's not hard to pronounce, right? And so it's just full of fun. I would say Augustana is one of the few colleges in this country that offers 4 years of Chinese. And also we are well connected with the outside world, especially the local companies such as John Deere's. And whenever they hear the student, even it's a beginner, they will say, "Are you taking Chinese?" Ooh, you must be very, very brave, right? So they were hired on the spot. I recently, just right now, 2 weeks ago, a student was hired by John Deere.
No matter whether a student has already studied French before they come to Augustana, or maybe they're a native speaker, or they just want to start studying, French is the 5th most commonly used language in the world, and that's growing. And so no matter what people want to study, they can use it in their personal lives, in their jobs. We have a lot of double and triple majors, but there's an intense need for people who have French language skills in all the professions. It's a language of diplomacy, right? Global organizations, arts and culture. But because we get to know our students really well, when I meet students in their first year on campus, I can often kind of orient the courses I'm going to teach later on in their time at Augustana to speak to their diverse interests, the other things they're studying. So just earlier today I was talking with a student who wants to do environmental studies and also French, and I have a text and environment class that I've been waiting to teach, text and environment, that can count for environmental studies, but it's the perfect time to offer that elective when I have 2 or 3 French students who are also doing environmental studies. So through getting to know each other, we can sometimes build courses together and kind of look at that curriculum. And then for me, another thing that I have to offer, because one of my areas of research is gender inclusive language and gender inclusive language instruction, I'm able to work with future French language educators to develop strategies for approaching the classroom in a more gender inclusive way and expose my students to kind of the diversity of ways of languaging in French around the world as well. And I do a lot of trainings with other teachers around the country, and that's something that not every campus can offer and that I value a lot about teaching at Augustana.
People choose German for a number of different reasons. Sometimes there's a family or a personal connection that they want to explore. Sometimes they're interested in using German to support whatever their other major is because they know there's research written in German that would be helpful. Sometimes they're interested in exploring German history. I mean, really dark, horrible things happened that Germany was responsible for, and they want to try to understand that, and knowing German is helpful for that. Some people take German because of their connection to music, that they're music majors, and knowing German is super helpful for music study. Some people are interested in politics and economics, and they're thinking about living and working in Europe, and they know that German would be super helpful in that context. We have a lot of really great study away opportunities. So we love to have students come to Augustana, and we love to send them away too. So you could go for a summer or a semester or a year and really immerse yourself in German culture. So it's a really great way to get to know their language and culture firsthand.
The Greeks were the originals behind so many of the things that we still study to this day. Things like philosophy, literature, history, science, medicine, politics, religion. The New Testament was written in Greek, for example. But studying Greek as a language, you really get behind the vocabulary, get behind the thought process of all these different fields that are still with us. And of course, there's always mythology, Greek mythology, perennial favorite. Really, what I would say is we can't escape the influence of Greek in our lives, even still to this day after so many years. And so it's good intellectually, it's good as an interesting endeavor, but it's good to know where a lot of things come from, and it's good to be able to analyze them and to see them clearly in your daily life. One of the things about what we do is we have to analyze grammar and texts at a deep level, and one of the differences about some of the languages that we have at Augustana We don't teach Greek for conversation, but more for analysis. So it really does directly go towards critical study as opposed to ordering in a restaurant and having a casual conversation. It gets to the level of analysis pretty fast. There are not as many places where you can actually study Greek and Latin as well in the United States these days, as there used to be. It used to be very standard. So it's special that Augustana still has that tradition. It's a fascinating field of study that many people don't know exists as a field that you can actually pursue, but it's also comprehensive and interdisciplinary. You study all aspects of ancient Greek and Roman culture, and it also feeds into certain experiences, like we have a regular J-term trip to Greece, and that's something that's been an ongoing thing, going to foreign study and having experiences overseas.
Konnichiwa. I'm Marina Gase, Professor of Japanese. Augustana offers 4 years of Japanese, a Japanese minor, and a major in Asian Studies. Our Japanese classes are interactive. You will learn the language while having fun and working with classmates. You will have a chance to participate in Japanese cultural activities beyond the classroom. You will be introduced to career opportunities where Japanese language is an additional asset. We offer study abroad programs, including faculty-led January term and semester exchange programs. We have 3 partner universities in Japan. Augustana supports your study abroad with generous scholarships. I hope you study Japanese with us. じゃあね
Some people say that Latin is a dead language because it's not in active use, but it's actually quite alive in our world today in many ways. So it's the language of legal and scientific terminology, so it's useful in fields like law, medicine, and science. And it's also the ancestor of the Romance languages, which are Italian, Portuguese, French, Spanish, and Romanian, so it can help you learn those. It's also alive in the English language. Something between 60 and 70% of our vocabulary in English comes from the Latin. So it can help you in fields like publishing and editing and library sciences. But in addition to all that, it's an inflected language, which means the endings of words change according to how they're used in sentences. So it can really help bolster your logical and critical thinking skills. And those skills are transferable to many other disciplines and careers, so it actually helps in many fields, even unexpected ones like data analytics or math. In addition, many of the narratives that we are alive in our world today, and our ideologies, our customs, even our forms of government are based on Roman models. And so reading Latin literature can inform us a lot about where we came from and who we are. So we can learn about how the Romans thought and felt. In many ways, those are really fun and weird and interesting and problematic. And it gives us a lens onto how we function in our world today and who we are as individuals.
Getting a minor, a major in Spanish, and learning about the language and culture will enhance your resume. It will make you more competitive in the marketplace and probably will increase your salary. So that's another practical use for learning the language. I also think there's a lot of personal motivations why people might want to learn the language. A lot of our students, a lot of the people that you're going to work with are going to come from this country. So for personal reasons, you might want to do that. You might have family who spoke the language, your parents, your grandparents. So there's a lot of social reasons why it would be good as well. For being a small school, we have a very robust program in which you will learn the language and culture of a wide variety of Spanish-speaking countries. And we have faculty in Spanish that is made of 6 professors who come from different backgrounds. So we have people from Spain, like me. We have a professor from Ecuador, a professor from Venezuela, and 3 professors from the US.
We're actually one of the few places in the United States where you can study Swedish and Scandinavian studies, so it's a pretty distinctive aspect of Augustana. We also offer classes in English on a number of other topics in Scandinavian studies. Viking sagas and myths, Scandinavian literature, film, history, and some other topics. What I'm most excited about Scandinavian Studies right now is our J-Term in Sweden program. And we took a group of about 16 students to Sweden in January and spent a whole month there learning intermediate Swedish and going to cities like Stockholm and Copenhagen and Oslo. I'm also really excited about other study abroad opportunities that our students have. We have an exchange with Uppsala University in Sweden. People can spend a whole semester there or an entire year. Our Swenson Center at Augustana boasts the largest collection of documents and archives on the Swedish immigrant experience. And students oftentimes will major in Scandinavian studies, will have an internship in the Swenson Center, great job experience, internship experience. And then it's also a lot of fun to be in Scandinavian Studies because we have a student club, the Scandinavian Club, that organizes some activities and some pretty fun activities throughout the year connected to our Swedish heritage at Augustana.